Mr. Stanley, come on. Hey! Who was here for the show last night? Pretty good. Tonight's going to be awesome too. You know, at some point we want to talk to you and find out what you want in the KISS cruises in the future, because we want to make this better every time we do it. And it's all about you. So we're going to be asking you questions at some point while you're on the ship. We may put out a questionnaire. We want to know how you feel about what we've done so far, and we want to make sure that the next one is that much better. So,
Because we love you, Paul!
I love you. You're awesome. You are awesome.
All right.
Where am I sitting?
A nice comfortable chair for you there.
I was right.
Boy, I feel like a grown-up.
I figured the one who has the ball.
So, before we get started, Paul, I just want to let you know we have some people backstage that want to just share something with you just before we get started. So, yeah, you guys want to come out? Oh, here we go. You can use this, Keith. Keith, you can use it.
Hey, hey.
So Paul, this is actually Jason's idea. He had called me to buy a smash guitar for something, and he told me what it was for. So when he told me,
German Jewish immigrants following World War II, you have exemplified the American dream, overcoming challenges and bullying in school. You completed studies at the High School of Music and Art in New York, soon forming a band named Wicked Lester. From there, history was made in 1973 when you completely changed how rock music was performed live. Dedicated to the principle that not all bands are created equal. You created the name that will live in rock history, dubbing your new creation KISS, and personally drawing the logo still used today. Self-confidence and perseverance. You pursued that in America and broke the Beatles' attendance records at Japan's Budokan. In the middle years with the makeup gone, you were credited by your longtime bandmate with having been the driving force behind the success, keeping KISS alive. When the original lineup returned, it instantly became the top drawing concert of the year, with the band's biggest attendances ever. As recently as this summer, with the current rejuvenated lineup, KISS demonstrated the staying power of the music and the show, your vision from all those years ago. The accolades are tremendous for the band, the biggest gold record award-winning band in American history, second only to your idols, the Beatles. Achievements is impressive. Solo artist, movie star, television star, movie soundtrack, dramatic actor, ambassador for About Face, top 40 hit record producer, Long Island Music Hall of Fame, Classic Rock Award Showman of the Year, Lifetime Achievement Award from the House Research Institute, star on the Hollywood.
I think we get the point.
Top metal vocalist of all time, top frontman of all time, pro football team owner, restaurateur, most recently Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah, Paul!
Acclaimed artist, New York Times best-selling author. Despite all that, perhaps the thing that brings you the most pleasure is all in all, not too bad for a young kid from Queens. You summed up how you achieved all this quite succinctly. Quote, I hold myself to a higher standard than others do, end quote. So, it is with great pleasure that based on all that you have done and continue to do, we now present you an accolade from all the people of these enshrinement of your trademark showstopper, the stage smash PS1000 Washburn guitar from the finale of Voodoo Fest 2009. In that highest honor for American culture, the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, taking your place alongside memorabilia of American music legends such as John Coltrane, Dizzy Gillespie, Ella Fitzgerald, the Supremes, Ray Charles, Chuck Berry, and Elvis.
Elvis. Yeah. Wow.
And to put it into context, spanning the breadth of American history, from Dorothy's ruby slippers to Thomas Edison's light bulb, Thomas Jefferson's Bible to Abraham Lincoln's top hat. Thank you for everything you continue to do for us, the KISS Army.
Thank you.
Yeah, Paul!
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. It's definitely Mr. Stanley now.
I think I'm just going to go back to my room and look in the mirror.
So we up for just talking about the book, and so before you came out, again, how many of you guys have had a chance to read the book? How's the book doing?
Amazing. It's New York Times #2 bestseller. It's been translated so far into Japanese, German, Swedish, Italian's coming, French, Portuguese. So it's, that's a pretty big sign of success is when you get translated into other languages. And the coolest thing about the book is that people keep coming to me and going that it's either inspiring or that it makes them feel that, they didn't go through certain things alone. A lot of people have this feeling that the people they look up to are perfect and have easy lives. And I think the best thing that we can do, the people who are successful, is tell people the way it really is, that it's difficult for everybody. And my writing the book was really to write something for my children initially, for me to succeed and what I went through. And I think it's probably eye-opening for a lot of people, because I'm not the only person who's fighting problems. I'm not the only person who feels like that. I think one of the worst problems for most people is feeling that they're alone. You've got all these secrets, and you don't realize that everybody's keeping the same secrets. So just to kind of open up and tell people what my life's been like, I certainly couldn't do it if it didn't turn out great. If the book didn't have a happy ending, I couldn't write it.
Yeah. So I expected the book to have things like the chicken coop in it. Like that was what I expected. That's why I took some penicillin before I knew I was going to be this close to you. But what I loved about the book was that you had the courage to be so vulnerable about your ear and your journey. And I just think today it's such an amazing thing for people to have the courage to be vulnerable, because that's kind of the new strength.
Well, I saw some books, I saw some autobiographies, and a lot of them could be filed under fiction. I'm not necessarily talking within my band. I'm talking about people I've seen in other bands, and I'll read stuff in there that just isn't true. And if all you have to offer is bragging about things you supposedly did or then what's the point in writing a book? So I wanted my book to be something that had some sort of residual, good effect on people. So my book, look, of course, there's room for, did I sleep with a couple of women? Yeah, one or two, and I didn't sleep much, but that's not the core of the book. The book is really my life story and everything that went into it. And, I tried to cover everything in it. The band. Somebody was saying, I've read all the 3 other books, and I was going, I didn't write the 4th KISS book. I wrote the first Paul Stanley book. I wasn't trying to write the last in a series of books. Quite honestly, people have pointed out pages or segments in the books, and most of them, aren't that accurate? And nobody, I'm always in a tough position because people don't want me to smash or take pot shots at former members of the band. But that's life, if you tell the truth, some people are going to get smacked in the process, and when somebody writes a book of memoirs, how accurate can it be? When somebody is dealing with substance abuse problems and other kinds of problems, how accurate can they write a book? When they have to ask other people what they were doing at that time, it's really, that's why attorneys don't like to put people who are problems with, substances on the witness stand. You just don't get an accurate picture. So in terms of people within the band or outside of the band, I've seen a lot of stuff that I just went, it's just not true.
So I want to ask you, like, who knew about your ear? Like, when you were growing up, like, did the band, the crew, I mean, who were you able to keep it from,
Well, when I was growing up, we had short hair. There were no secrets in terms of, your physical look. The terrible thing about having any kind of facial deformity or any kind of difference is you can't ever cover it. And, we all know that if we put on, you wake up one day, you put on some clothes and you make a bad choice, everybody stares at you and you go home and you put something else on. But people with differences, you don't, it's unrelenting. You're naked basically, and it's exhausting to story looking at you all the time. It's very different when life turns around and when things are on an even keel, when everything turns out the way you worked your ass off and dreamed it would be. Then telling about the tough times really isn't that difficult. It's kind of, you get to celebrate where you are and where you were.
That made me cry. Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I was going to ask about Dr. Hilson. If you guys, Dr. Hilson plays a big role in the book, right? So Dr. Hilson comes into your life early age, right? And then again, you find him when success comes, and then he ends up being the manager at some point.
Well, he was never the manager. What you hear from all on your face, you make an idiot of yourself, you do all the same things, but it's all a means to an end. So Dr. Hilson came in at that point in my life, and when at some point I stopped going, and then when the band started to take off, I realized that this huge roller coaster was about, I was getting pulled up and going, wow, we're about to start this crazy ride. And you only have to look around at Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, the list goes on of all the fatalities, the casualties of